What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Spring Practice Reports. A little bit of a shorter episode for you guys today as we covered a bunch of stuff going on yesterday. A lot of those teams that we talked about, Ohio State and so on, Clemson, all those teams are, more into their practices, not a lot of other news coming out, but we are going to address a couple more teams today and some interesting storylines that are going on. As you guys may know, or if you don't, my name is Matt. I'm one of the co-founders of CampusToCanton.com. Let's take a ride around the country and look at some of the latest news and happenings in spring report and spring practice. All right. I technically have to go and talk about the team up north, and that is Michigan. I prefer not to, but there are some interesting storylines specifically around the quarterback position. Right now, J.J. McCarthy has been slowed down this spring due to a lingering shoulder injury. It has been putting a dent, apparently, in the offseason QB battle. Coach Jim Harbaugh was characterized saying that the injury is lingering arm soreness that apparently happened in the 2021 season. Michigan has sought to clarify what the kind of plan is to do with this. They don't believe it will be a long-term issue and are working on a plan. Trainers plan to let McCarthy rest his right shoulder over the next couple of months. McCarthy will remain active in practice, but they are not having him throw right now, and he declined to provide any kind of timetable or when we might see McCarthy throwing the ball or really being involved in the offense. They said the longer, the better at this point. So that's not great news for J.J. McCarthy or any of us who thought he might take a step forward and not reclaim, but take over that job as a starter. He's definitely got a ton of upside and is a very exciting quarterback to watch, but it does not look like he is going to be participating in most of spring. Cade McNamara has continued to look good. He's taken all the first team reps at quarterback, and it seems like he's going to be the guy. So for those of you taking J.J. McCarthy in your college football drafts, I think we unfortunately have to sit here and think maybe he's not going to start, or he's not going to start. I just feel like that's pretty easy to say now at this point. Not practicing at all. They don't know when he is going to be coming back. That's not good news. JJ McCarthy right now is going as QB 13 off the board with an ADP of 72.8 in our mock drafts. Yeah, there's a chance that he plays later this year and likely is the starter for Michigan next season. But I do think the fact that he has not been able to play due to his injury that happened in 2021, of all things, too. We're in March of 2022, and he's still dealing with the shoulder injury from last year. This is not good news for J.J. McCarthy. Hopefully things improve for him moving through spring, but that is kind of the update for him right now. Let's move on to Georgia Tech, who is also dealing with another quarterback battle. And interestingly enough, they're about 10 days away from their spring game, but we haven't gotten much out of the practices at Georgia Tech. There has been a little bit of news trickling out, and most of that has been head coach Collins has been talking up how good Jeff Sims has looked in their new offense. I do think this is an interesting battle this offseason between him and the Akron Zips transfer quarterback, Zach Gibson, I believe is his name. Those two guys are going to be battling for the QB job, but all the talk is about how Jeff Sims has looked. So take that for what it's worth. Jeff Sims looks like he's leading the job here as of right now, early on in the Georgia Tech QB battle. Pitt had an amazing season last year with what Kenny Pickett was able to do in this offense, and Jordan Addison, who ended up winning the Biletnikoff Award. This year, they bring over transfer quarterback from USC, Keydon Slovis, who had that amazing freshman season, but it hasn't quite looked to be the same player. Most of the talk right now in their camp is that Addison is primed and ready for another incredible season. There's a lot of talk. They don't think there's going to be any real step back between what they got out of Kenny Pickett and what they're going to get out of Keydon Slovis. The more interesting thing is we have seen and heard that Pitt has kind of split times at running back and really kind of been hesitant to give anybody the ball or really be the lead back. Israel Abanaconda seems to be the guy right now in everything I'm reading on all the camp stuff. He's done a lot of work with Keydon Slovis. He's been catching passes as well. So Israel Abanaconda might be the guy finally here for the Pitt Panthers, a kid who has a lot of upside. BYU. Talking about upside here, Isaac Rex. He's a tight end that we have, semi-relied on here in C2C leagues, and he has been ranked in the top 20 by most of us for most of the season and the off season. However, he's coming back from an injury, and there's apparently no timetable on when he'll get back. All the talk right now out of BYU camp is second-string tight end Dallin Holker has been the most targeted pass catcher in the 3 media sessions that they've allowed to been in there for. And Holker has made one of, if not the best the best catch on every single day. He's been getting work with Jaron Hall and backup, at least right now, looks like backup quarterback Jacob Conover. He's run post routes. He's been in the slot. He's got diving grabs as well. He seems to be the guy that we don't know when Isaac Rex is coming back. There really has been no timetable. Holker could be emerging in this BYU offense, a team that looks like it's going to be very good this year. Jaron Hall confirmed as and solidified as the starting quarterback, who had some really good moments as well, not just for fantasy, but for that BYU team. Holker, a guy who's going undrafted right now in our C2C database in startups, where Isaac Rex is going off the board at tight end 24 with a 227 ADP. So with that, I talked a little bit about on yesterday's show some running backs that I would grab late. I would definitely grab Holker late, because whether he takes over for Rex this year, regardless, he seems to be the guy moving forward for this offense. They've really been playing kind of around him and making him the main target, it seems, in spring practices this offseason. I would be all in on adding Holker to my lineup. North Carolina, second to last team we're going to talk about today. As I mentioned, a quicker episode for today's stuff. Their spring practice started about 8 days ago on March 1st, and right now it seems like all the talk is British Brooks may be the RB1, or at least for now. We've got to see some clips of George Pettaway. He's looked good, flashing some speed, but for the most part, he has been running with the threes. Now, that may not mean anything at the end of the day, because, again, we're talking about 8 days into spring practice, but the fact that he is running with the threes and not the ones may put a little bit of a damper on some of us expecting him to be like the lead back, or maybe he is still in there. Kamar Edmonds is getting a lot of work as well. I don't think that this running backfield is solidified at all right now. I think there's a lot still up in the air, but British Brooks seems to be the one getting some love and at least running with the ones right now. We know Sam Howell is gone. He's moved on to the NFL, and we have another quarterback position battle. Word is that they likely won't name a starter until the preseason camp starts, but Jacoby Criswell, Drake May, and freshman Connor Harrell have gotten all the work. From everything that Coach Mac Brown and Phil Longo have said, is that all three have been very impressive. You would walk out there and think that they haven't played very much, so it is very encouraging. They have all been very impressive. When you walk out there, you wouldn't think that they haven't played very much. Obviously, Drake May not taking any snaps. Connor Harrell as well. We saw Jacoby Criswell for a little bit last year when Sam Howell got hurt. So they are very encouraged with the way all three of those guys are playing. Again, Drake May is a quarterback who I'm very high on. A lot of us are high on. We've kind of been expecting him to get the job. He's being drafted right now as QB 12 off the board with an ADP of 63.9. If he doesn't win that job, that's going to hurt you in your C2C drafting him that high. I do, at the end of the day, expect him to win the job, but he is still technically in a competition with Jacoby Criswell. And Connor Harrell is being mentioned. I don't know that the freshman ends up winning out that job. Right now, all three are looking good, but all the rumors are they're probably not going to name anybody until the preseason camp. So you're probably looking at, July, August before we find out who's really going to, or at the end of the day, be the starter for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Last but not least, Missouri. And again, another quarterback battle. Head coach Eli Drinkowitz has stated that as of right now, both Tyler Macon and Brady Cook will be battling for the starting position, as will four-star freshman Sam Horn. However, he will not be able to join the team until this summer. Drinkowitz has stated that the starter likely won't be determined in spring practice, but is something to watch, as they do have some very interesting weapons on this offense. You know, I'm still believing in Mookie Cooper, though it may be time to give up on that. But more so in that wide receiver room is 5-star wide receiver Luther Burden. He is a favorite of us at the website. He is my wide receiver one in this freshman class. He has already received his number. He locked that in 2 days into practice, and he decided that he wants to wear number 3, so he'll be rocking number 3 at least for this year. We'll see if he decides to change that at any point moving forward, but he is already looking good, dominating. They've pretty much said he's done literally everything they've asked, and he's gone above and beyond that. So Luther Burden impressing. He's one of the freshmen I think could really have a good season for you in CFF leagues as well this year, even being a freshman, because there's just nobody there, in my opinion, on that depth chart that's going to bring what Luther Burden can to this wide receiver course. So I'm really excited to see what happens with him moving forward. And then obviously who wins the battle. I'm a big Sam Horn guy. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in this class. But Tyler Macon and Brady Cook definitely have the upper hand on him, being there last year and getting all of the spring practice reps. As again, Horn cannot join the team until the summer. So we'll have to watch that. But it sounds like they as well will not be naming a starter, at least until the preseason stuff gets here. That will do it for us today. Spring reports are closed for day 2. We'll be back again Thursday and Friday. Same spring report time, same spring report channel. Trying to see if that works. It probably doesn't. We'll be back right around the 7 o'clock hour Central Time. The best. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say, guys. The best time zone. There we go. It's been a long day. The best time zone, in my opinion. Back right around that 7 o'clock p.m. hour every single weekday with as much news camp as we can bring, or spring news reports that we can bring you. Everybody have a good night. We will talk to you guys again on Thursday.